So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. And by the title, we're going to be talking about Brittany Renner. Yes, we are circling back because sis has once again proven that when it comes to identity, performance, and image, she is just like constantly shape-shifting. This time, the focus is back on religion, specifically the symbolism of her wearing a hijab and what it means when someone uses it like an Instagram filter for real.
First of all, honey, you know what I've noticed? In any message I share, for the record, always applies to myself. Like, I'm not exempt just because I'm sharing it. So
When I was in LA, my life was centered around mischief, and God doesn't like mischief.
Slap me! I think I'm worse by then.
Brittany Renner, she's so problematic. Being Muslim was never on my bingo card, but I was going through a lot of different hardships, and there were times I was praying multiple times a day for God to change my situation. And lo and behold, it happened. Things became a lot more amicable with my child's father. He got traded and he moved to Texas. It did open up that opportunity to leave North Carolina and take our son. And of course, you know, I had to come back to Cali. I'm on this new path. My only objective is through every step that I can gain Allah's favor.
Brittany recently posted a video showing off her natural hair after months of wearing the hijab, which basically raised everyone's eyebrow like, what the hell? Because it came right after she announced her separation from Kevin Gates. Now, before I even get into this breakdown, I'm gonna say this. I'm not necessarily here to police anyone's religion. I'm really just here to give insight. Like, I am not God. I'm not anyone's imam or pastor or spiritual advisor at all. But I am someone who believes that when you make something sacred a part of your public image, you also open up yourself to public accountability, okay? I just want this to be more about like the intention and how it's been represented and basically how faith has become a branding tool rather than people actually using it as a belief system. I've definitely talked about this in prior videos. Like, we're living in a time where religion, femininity, and identity are all being monetized, okay? And aestheticized and turned into content. And you know, that may work for like quick engagement or just trying to boost yourself online because we've seen it with like Krishan Rock and whatnot, but it's incredibly harmful to the long term, especially when it comes to faith-based communities who definitely hold these traditions very dear to themselves. When you have millions of followers, your actions speak louder than you really think. And when you use religious imagery to sell a narrative that affects real people, I definitely have to call you out. So I've broken this video down into 5 main talking points, and we're gonna get into all of it. Brittany's statements, the symbolism, performative religion, all of that. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So my first point is talking about the post that sparked all of this controversy. So Brittany Renner went on Instagram recently, showing off her natural afro with the caption, "I wore cornrows underneath my hijab just so that my hair could fit in." And I'm sitting here like, okay, sis, why are you telling us this? Now, on the surface, you could just take that as her just making like, you know, a light little comment about how the hijab impacted her hair. But when you pair this with the larger caption that she wrote, it definitely starts to sound like a deeper message. She said in the caption, "I don't have blind loyalty to any person, place, or thing. I also don't need excuses to do what I want to do because I still accept whatever comes with my decisions. It's still alhamdulillah for everything. Hope this helps." And she also talked about how she doesn't want to continue to shrink herself. Now, I don't know about y'all, but that last part where she said, "Hope this helps," and the part about shrinking herself on the caption, to me, that was giving attitude, okay? That was giving attitude. It was giving, "I know you're watching and I don't care." Like, it almost came off defensive as if she knew there would be backlash and she wanted to cut it off early by acting unbothered. But let's be real. If you genuinely respected what the hijab stands for, you wouldn't talk about removing it as if you're just announcing like a new fashion choice, right? It's not just a headscarf. It's obviously a symbol. For her, it was supposed to be the image of modesty, the image of submission to God, and just of spiritual discipline. And for almost a year, Brittany sold us that image. Whether she said it with her words or not, the visuals definitely spoke loud. She literally changed her whole entire branding. She was aligning herself with Islam, appearing began to like adopt a modest religious lifestyle along Kevin Gates. So now to strip that away and basically say, I never had blind loyalty, it just makes it sound like the hijab was like a prop for her. And that is why it's so offensive. It's not just like about her hair or anything. It's about what the hijab represents and how casually she discarded that representation once it no longer fit her or aligned with her personal life. So today was one of those days you get it all done days, right? Grocery run, post office, dry cleaning, and of course a CVS stop, but not just for the essentials. We had to re-up on our favorite scents. Dossier is finally in CVS, well, select stores in a few states, but we got lucky. Fruity Almond smells so good on him, like a warm, fresh confidence, and Floral Marshmallow, it is so sweet and soft and sexy, just like me, right? Luxury scents, clean ingredients, and CVS convenience is now in full effect. Find your scent at dossier.co. Thank you to Dossier for sponsoring today's video. Now moving on to point number 2, the symbolism of the hijab. And I wanted to talk about this for a minute because I think some people, especially online, really don't grasp what it stands for. The hijab isn't just about covering your hair, okay? It's not a beauty hack or a religious wig, okay? It's about modesty, dignity, and spiritual submission. And for many Muslim women, it's a lifelong commitment. It's something they choose to wear with pride, even when the world stereotypes them or discriminates against them or tries to erase them. And no, you don't have to wear it, but a lot of people choose to do for their own reasons. So when someone like Brittany Renner, who has a massive platform and is not deeply rooted in the faith, wears the hijab for aesthetic purposes or as a part of a temporary lifestyle change, it definitely feels like appropriation, like cultural appropriation or religious appropriation. Just because something is quote unquote allowed, okay, doesn't mean it's appropriate. It's definitely not respectful. You don't borrow sacred garments to play dress up for your spiritual phase and then take them off like a wig when it no longer fits the narrative. And to me, the worst part is Brittany framed it like wearing the hijab made her smaller. She was minimizing herself. She used the word shrinking. And that's very wild to me because the hijab doesn't make women shrink. It empowers them to take control over how they are seen. It's about the internal worth, not the external validation, right? So when she implies that she's reclaiming her freedom by taking it off, she's indirectly suggesting that women who wear it are somehow less free. That's how I took it. And to me, that's incredibly harmful and disrespectful because now it creates this false binary, like either you're expressive and free with your natural hair or you're restrained and conservative in a hijab. And to me, that's not how it works. For many Muslim women, the hijab is their freedom, it's their empowerment, it's their identity. So Brittany saying she's no longer blindly loyal and therefore no longer wearing it, it is a slap in the face to the women who wear it with intention, not just for male approval or public image. Now moving on to point number 3, that is using religion as a relationship strategy. I already talked about this when it comes to Brittany, but I wanted to get into the real issue here. Religion being used as a strategy to keep a man or to get a man. Let's just call it what it is, y'all. Like, come on. Brittany didn't come into Islam through deep spiritual study or community guidance or a long personal journey or even jail, okay? She came into Islam through Kevin Gates. And let's be honest, Kevin Gates is not the blueprint for a devout Muslim man, a devout, faithful Muslim man. Like, no, he's not. He might say Alhamdulillah in his favorite songs or interviews, but his lifestyle doesn't reflect any serious practice of Islam. I just gotta keep it real. So if he's not walking the walk and Brittany was only walking beside him, then what were we all watching for the past year? Like, where are y'all walking to? A volcano? Hell? Where are y'all going? To me, we were watching a performance, a rebrand, a storyline. And now that the relationship is ending, Brittany is removing the uniform that tells me that she was never into it for Allah, okay? She was in for the attachment to the relationship, the aesthetic, and the fantasy of being someone's forever woman. She may not have realized it at the time, but she was participating in religious cosplay for real, trying on a new identity to see if it could get her closer to the wife image that she's been chasing for years is very much crazy. And let's not act like we haven't seen this before. People do this all the time, pivoting into religion or femininity or modesty to attract a certain type of man. But when it's not authentic, it never lasts because eventually the real you is going to show up, okay? And knock at that door and say, hello, I would like to come back. And in Brittany's case, that meant removing the hijab, claiming she was never blindly loyal, and returning to what she believes is her most authentic self. But that leaves behind a very big trail of confusion because she didn't just go through this journey privately, she marketed it publicly. She sold us this religious image. So now when she walks it back, it's not just personal, it's very much public. And that's why people feel betrayed. And that's why she really needs her. Let me stop. Let me stop. Now, moving on to point number 4, this is a pattern, okay? We need to talk about how this isn't even an isolated incident. This is a pattern among a lot of women, especially those in the influencer and Instagram baddie space who try to pivot into religion or traditional roles when the hot girl lifestyle doesn't deliver the results they thought it would. And let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with change at all. I actually support it. There's nothing wrong with growth. I support that. But faking it for the sake of being chosen is very dangerous. For you and for the people who watch you. Looking at Alexis Sky, she did the same thing. She started dating a Christian man. Suddenly she became submissive. She was quoting scriptures and talking about being a Proverbs 31 wife. But when that relationship ended, the Christian content disappeared too. That's what I'm talking about. Like religion as a performance, not a belief system, not a lifestyle, but a persona. Something to wear like an outfit is what I'm seeing. And it's not just disrespectful to the religion. I believe it's disrespectful to yourself too, because you're telling the world that you'll become anyone just to be picked. And that desperation definitely reads. It radiates off the screen. It's not spiritual, it's very strategic. And y'all definitely have to open your eyes and see that. And not in a good way, okay? The strategy is not a good thing. There's a whole wave of traditional, trad wife influencers who are suddenly modest and suddenly domestic and suddenly religious until the man they were doing it for leaves. Let's be real. Then it's back to Fashion Nova and club flyers. The internet has made identity very fluid, and that can be empowering, but I can also see it as dangerous when people start to use sacred traditions for clout. And that's what Brittany Renner did, point blank period. She saw Kevin Gates, she saw the lifestyle and said, I'll become that woman if it means I can be chosen. But the truth is, no man, no matter how spiritual he claims to be, is worth compromising your identity for, especially when that identity was only ever halfway yours to begin with. Now, moving on to my 5th and final point, that is my final thoughts and my predictions. I just want to say this. Look, I don't think Brittany Renner is dumb. In fact, she's very articulate. She's introspective, she owns her decisions, and she's also shown a consistent pattern of shape-shifting to get closer to whatever man she's obsessed with for that time. From athletes to rappers to spiritual men, Brittany is the queen of blending in and hoping to get chosen. When she was twerking on Charleston White, yes, it was probably alcohol-induced, but let's not act like that wasn't also attention-seeking behavior. She's been craving that spotlight for years, and I predict that she's not just gonna fully revert to her old image. Actually, I did see a picture of her and she was in a bodycon short mini dress. I said, damn girl, it's only been a few weeks, golly. But I do think we'll also still see that onion peel as well. It'll definitely be less modesty, more skin, more Instagram posts that are sensual, but somehow a little bit spiritual. She'll still say alhamdulillah. She'll still quote Quran verses here and there, but the hijab is gone, okay? Because it no longer serves her image. And it is very sad, not just because of Brittany, but because religious imagery, especially for women, is constantly being weaponized, sexualized, and trivialized by people who do not take the faith seriously. The Muslim community deserves better than to be someone's aesthetic trial run. And Brittany's behavior, while it's not really even unique, it definitely is harmful because it tells young women watching that you can try religion like it's a new diet. I mean, it's like being Muslim or being Christian is the new keto diet or the new Jenny Christian, I guess. And when it doesn't give you the man, the fame, or the peace that you thought it would, you can just toss it out like yesterday's trend. Brittany didn't just remove a scarf, okay? She removed an identity that she sold to us as real, and it really wasn't real. And whether or not she meant to do that or not, it feels like a slap in the face to those who actually live that life every day. So my message is this: if you want to explore religion, do it for yourself. Not for a man, not for likes, not to get chosen, because when it all falls apart, you'll be left exposed, not just spiritually, but publicly, just like Brittany. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. Also, don't forget to check out our sponsor, Dossier. All of the information is pinned down below. They are now in CVS stores. So if you don't want to order online, go to your local CVS and see if you'll find Dossier. I even heard they're in Walmart too. And last but not least, as always, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media networks, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.